Ladies and gentlemen, thanks for joining us on today's episode. Today, we're going to talk about how to power up your content marketing in 5 minutes. So just to intro real quick, modern online marketing is all about content, right? Whether it be social media, blogs, vlogs, podcasts, you name it. If it's online, it's about content. In fact, nothing online exists without content if you really think about it. Now, because when we talk about content, people think, oh, blogs. But really, like, your Facebook social, statuses would just be empty squares. The pay-per-click ads would just be empty squares on the page. There'd be nothing without content. So you've really got to think about that, really reshape the way you think about content in order to take your content marketing forward. And thankfully, if you're like most companies, you probably get the idea of what content's about, of what content marketing is about. You kind of understand that you've got to be posting on Facebook. You understand that you should probably be creating blog posts and things to generate traffic towards your site. So thankfully, that's a pretty common thing to understand. So let's kind of talk about what content marketing needs to be about real quick. Content marketing needs to be driven by your audience's needs. Okay, so before we talk about powering it up, let's kind of talk about that foundation there, right? So your target audience has got some kind of a problem they need solved, whether it be the problem that your product solves specifically, or maybe a problem they don't even know exists. But the point is, they're online looking for information because they have a problem that needs solved. Your content, right, needs to be answering their questions, needs to be solving those problems. So maybe that's just it. Maybe they've just got a question that they need answered, right? Maybe it's more than that. Maybe they're you're a plumber, their house flooded, so you need to be the guy to fix it, right? But the point is, your content should be answering whatever questions that they have, especially the ones that might eventually lead them to become your client. So the key is to write about what they need, right? Especially when we're talking about blogging, write about what they need, not about what you want, right? Because it's really, really common to head down that path of talking about what you want instead of taking care of those client needs. So I think that kind of covers the foundation of content marketing. But let's talk about now, before we get into this tip to power it up, right? Let's talk about what you already need to have in place, because you've got to already have the early work done, right? So in giving this advice, I'm going to assume that you've already done your research, right? You've already spent the hours to understand what your content marketing should look like. You already know your keywords, right? You've already gone through the Google keyword searcher and picked them out, and you know what you're trying to rank for. You already have built your customer profiles, right? Your ideal client profiles. This is the rundown of each ideal client in your target market, and you've already taken a look around to see what your competition is doing. So you're already familiar with the landscape. The real key to powering up that content marketing is you got to understand, if you've got a plan, right, your content marketing is going to run smoothly. So, I understand that content can be tricky to produce, right? You kind of get stumped sometimes, you're not sure what to do next. So having a plan sort of eases that process, and that's really the power up is to have a plan. So I'm going to explain how to create a plan and what to do here. But understand that, like I said, it's a time investment to create a plan, but it's worth that time investment. But remember, it's only a 5-minute time investment. That's the great part. If you understand what I'm about to share with you, understand the steps I'm about to share with you, it only takes about 5 minutes to create a good content plan. So the first thing, let's start with step 1 to your content plan, right? The first thing you need to do, lay out your target keywords and your topics, right? So number 1, you've already looked at all the different keywords you want to rank for. Put them down on paper. Put them down in order, right? Put them out in plan structure, right? So you're going to have repetition there. And then take this list of however many keywords you've got and mix them up, right? Sort them up. Make sure you don't do the same thing back to back. And don't forget to include your keyword alternates, right? Like, for example, if you're an events venue, right? Let's say you're focusing on wedding events. You kind of also want to think about like wedding receptions, right? Or bridal parties, like other sort of keywords that go around the same idea as your core keyword there. Next step is to plan your content frequency, right? How often are you going to produce content for your audience? So first off, you got to determine how frequently you think is going to best benefit you. Understand that I personally don't recommend any less than once a week. If you blog less than once a week, you actually start hurting your online results more than you're helping them. Companies that produce more content tend to get more visitors and more leads, as much as 16 times a month. You start seeing massive improvements in your site traffic and massive improvements in the leads you capture. But whatever you do, don't plan for more than you can handle, right? If all you can handle is 4 times a month, then just stay there. Do that, because the last thing you want to do is break consistency, right? Because the consistency matters. If you start producing content on a regular basis and then stop because there's more than you can handle, slow down, shift your schedule, it's going to hurt your traffic numbers. Next is to decide each piece of content's format. So you've got your keywords you want to write for, you've got the titles, the topics you want to write. Now what is it going to be, right? When you're producing content, especially through your blog, through your website, different types of content, different formats are better, right? So first and foremost, you got to decide what you can handle, and then decide what each piece of content is going to be. So when I talk about different types of content, we're talking about like blogs, right? For example, the articles you write on your site, vlogs, just like this, right? Me talking at a camera. In this case, you talking at a camera instead of writing it down. Podcasts, right? Hopefully you're following the Visceral podcast. Hopefully you're familiar with the idea of what a podcast is. Infographics, you see them all over the web. They're super shared. It's all the data on a particular topic put into like sort of a little bite-sized pieces and nice cartoon and graphic images. And then case studies, right? The best thing you can do in content, and you can't do it all the time, but whenever you can, it's a great thing, is a case study. Take a look at one of your clients that's benefited from the services that you're providing, that you're talking about today. The last thing you want to do is schedule your due dates for each piece of content. Now that's, I think, the thing that most people forget, the thing that kind of winds up screwing things up. If you set deadlines on a regular basis, that's going to force you to work. As long as you're focused on what matters, right? Deadline oriented. Setting a deadline is going to force you to get the work done. It's going to force you to get it done on time, which is going to keep you consistent, right? It also helps you stay focused on what you're doing next, right? So I know that every X day, my content has to be prepared to go out into the editing process or out for a review for my clients. Having that schedule keeps me focused. They'll do the same for pretty much anybody that kind of understands how a schedule works, and it kind of works well within that. By planning out your posts, by planning out that schedule, having the deadline, you're going to be able to stay consistent. Like I said, consistency counts, right? That's what I said before. That's it. That's the 4 steps. All you have to do is start implementing those 4 steps. You do it once a month if you want. We sat down. Look, when I planned my content for this year, I sat down. It took one time. It took me 5 minutes. And that's why I tell you, this is only going to take you 5 minutes, and it's going to boost your content marketing capabilities, because you're going to understand a lot better what you're up against. You're going to be able to dig more into good quality content, as opposed to spending all that time trying to figure out the what, where, and when. So remember, like I said, it only takes 5 minutes, but you're going to save hours in the future by knowing ahead of time what you have to write, getting on it ahead of time, and being prepared. Guys, thank you for joining us today. I really hope this information has provided value to you. I hope that you can put it to work and really see the results out of it. Thank you for joining us, and we'll see you next month. Hey, while I still have you, since we're talking about how to plan, guys, I want to even speed up your content plan more, right? So make it even faster to do. Down below, we have the form to fill out for our content planner, right? This is a tool to help you actually do all the things that I described. Help you set up your blog formats, help you set up your keywords, plan out your titles, and help you put it into a schedule. And literally all you do is input the information relevant to what you're trying to do and click the button. It'll produce you a schedule and formatting so that you can get this scheduling and this plan made even faster. Save yourself even more time and see even more benefits, guys. So the form is just email, first name, last name, email address. Fill it out. We'll send it to you completely free, and you can start putting that to use right away. Again, download it, put it to use, and watch those results happen.